Thank you, Madam Chair and members, for being here early, bright and early today. Hey, I just want to show a couple of things. Those letters that came in, there's been a lot of support for this bill. That was just over the weekend, and we had somebody tell us they dropped off 7,000 to 10,000 letters at the Education Committee yesterday, and then those boxes over there.
So let me help all of you in the audience. You must be new. We do not applaud or boo. If you like something, you can go like this. If you don't like something, you get to stay quiet. Senator Morrell, please continue.
Thank you. And then those boxes over there, what we did is we were going to print out the almost 50,000 petitions, but being a conservative, we wanted to be careful of state's money. So my staff spoke to the printing office, and they said that's how many boxes it would take to fill those almost 50,000. And so anyway, as you can see, that's just a small portion of the letters we had. But one of the things sort of touched my heart. If you look through those thousands of letters, they're not form letters. There are people who actually handwrite it, you know, because this goes deeper, you see, than just, you know, money. It's about our children. And so that's why I think there's such a vested interest in here and why people poured their heart out. Most of those were written to me, but I took some of the zip codes that you guys were in, and I know I sent, I think, 3,000 letters to your office, Senator, from that zip code. So anyway, good morning, Chair and members. I stand before you today to present SB673 on behalf of thousands of parents throughout our state. The petition, again, I put how many there was there, but also we have a diverse, this crosses party lines. I guess kids will do that for concerned parents, right? And organizations of over 250,000 citizens. We're fortunate to have the support of, I could go on, but I'll just name three quick. 30 Hispanic churches have signed on. The Islamic Council of Southern California, with over 70 mosques, as well as other Muslim organizations, are in support of this bill, the People's Bill, and we're grateful for the Catholics signing on with their 10 million parishioners and another 250,000 Californians representing other churches. Also, am grateful for the support of the Southwest section of the NAACP, who says we support SB 73 because it increases parental oversight with an opt-in for our youngest learners. The Catholic Conference also says we advocate for the high quality of education for all California students attending our public and private schools. In doing so, we affirm the parental right to direct and be fully engaged in their own children's education. And from the Islamic Council, they put, as your constituents in the state of California, we request an aye vote on SB 673 so the attentions of parental involvement prescribed in state law can become realities for grades K through 6 in California public schools. This issue strikes a chord with parents across California who care deeply for our young children and who want to be actively engaged and informed about instruction in their classrooms. To be clear, SB 673 is about our youngest students, our K through 6th grade, our 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders in between. This bill does three things. It creates transparency and full disclosure by requiring school districts to post the sex classes curriculum online, making it available for parents to review. What a concept. It also ensures parental participation on this sensitive subject, especially to our, young 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders, by requiring an active opt-in policy to any sex class lessons that they have. And it requires sexual health and HIV prevention curricula to be age appropriate and medically accurate. In some parts of the states, parents have been stonewalled. We have gotten quite a bit of phone calls on this and examples by school districts. For some reason, they don't want full disclosure, and that's not my words. Those are calls and letters that we've had coming in. So that always gives the appearance of hiding something. But also, I just want to thank a couple of things. The ACLU for sending in a opposition letter to me, and the reason I just want to share a couple of things from it is they say that this bill runs counter to the best business practices, and it's kind of funny about that because they cite a study from the RAND Institute from over 31 years ago that they think the best way to give people notice is through mail. But, you know, since the last 31 years, we've advanced in science and technology. So maybe they should come up to speed with their better business practices. And so what happens, because we have email, sales, text, whatever you have to be able to clearly communicate to parents. And so that was kind of a weird thing they said. But what is worse about the study that they cite from the RAND Institute is the sample size was 2 7th grade classes in LA. So my staff did research and we found out that there's 10,521 schools in all of California. And back 31 years ago, they only sampled 2 classrooms. So that was the ACLU's letter. And again, I want to thank you for making our case. Next, I'd like to read one, and this is kind of a sad one. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm very disappointed. I love teachers. You know, that was 7 years in high school. I got to know my teachers pretty well. But the California Federation of Teachers sent in a letter opposing too. And this is probably more on a serious note, because what they say, they sort of make our case, this opposition letter. We're in opposition to 673, which would require for a pupil an active parental consent with a signature for sexual education. So they don't want the parents to sign in. That just kind of whatever. But it also says this bill requires a school district to make those materials available for inspection before the date of instruction. And so again, I don't know why they would want to hide something like this. But worse than that, they put in this letter, and again, it's sort of, I think it's bad because at one time, they believed they were public servants, and I still believe they believe that, probably the majority of the teachers, but this letter sort of incriminates them on this bill. It says it allows parents to review. They're against this, right, this opt-in, because it allows parents to review the instructional materials that are required to be posted on a district's website, including teachers' lesson plans and scripts. There's more to this letter, but I think you guys have heard enough and you get the point that I'm trying to make. But anyway, Federation of Teachers, thank you very much. That boosted, I think, our argument. And it took one mother, by the way, and she's here today just in case, not to testify, but just in case if anybody on the dais would like to ask her questions. In the East Bay, 1 month, and she's not the only one that we've heard about, who pressed her school district and officials, and it took over 1 month before she was given permission to go down to the school. And then at that time, they only gave her a half hour to review hundreds of pages of material. And so this is wrong. Parents should be the primary decision makers in when and how their children are introduced to sensitive materials, not, of course, government bureaucrats. Hopefully we all believe that. And that's why we want everything out in the open. And by the way, I'll save that for later. I am aware that some opposition to the bill centers around an active opt-in policy, but this is what families want, and that's what SB673 does. Simply is like a permission slip. And it's interesting because if you take a field trip, you have to have a permission slip, right? But, you know, some of the most sensitive subjects, we're not doing this for our children. And yet, again, we don't want to cut. This is what's happening here. It seems like we're cutting parents out of the loop in education. And that's not good, because research shows over and over again when parents are involved, whether it's math, science, and literature, or sports, their children always perform better. So we should give parents full access, full disclosure. So if permission slips are required for a museum trip or a field trip, because we need the release of liability to inform the parents where and when their children are going to be go on a trip. Surely we can ask the same for for these sex classes. Again, for our youngest learners, first, second, third through sixth graders. It's a topic that needs parental participation. 673 enhances support for parents. Again, this is about parents, not government bureaucracy, for parents, while increasing transparency and accessibility. That's what this is about. And today you'll hear from a number of our parents and families who have traveled across our state to be here. I'm grateful for their support and want to thank them for making this trip. I also want to thank the members today for being here and listening to this bill. I know it's a sensitive subject, but at the appropriate time, I will ask for your aye vote. But here today, I've got a couple of speakers. Dean Broyles, who's President and Chief Counsel for the National Center for Law and Policy, and Dr. Sobo, who I just met, but I've talked to him numerous times on the phone, and we have kindred spirits, and he's the chairman of the Islamic Council of Southern California. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Morrell. Witnesses in support, we usually do 2 witnesses, 2 minutes each, but Senator Morrell asked that the 3 of you split the 4 minutes. Okay, everybody's good?
Well, actually, no, what I said, which I probably didn't make clear, sorry, is we've got 2 witnesses right here, so they're going to witness. But what I had mentioned, in case if anybody up on the dais did have a question from a concerned parent, because Denise was the one who sort of got this bill started. It was her idea. She's from the Bay Area. So if you did have a question
She would be here
from a
to
mom,
speak to that.
you-
Perfect. So 2 witnesses, 2 minutes each. I'll let you decide who goes first.
Good morning. I'm here today as a constitutional attorney, husband of a public school teacher, and father of 3 teens in support of SB 673. The U.S. Supreme Court has repeatedly affirmed that parents have the fundamental right to direct the care and raising of their children, not the state. Families do not lose their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate. California Youth Act acknowledges parental rights by permitting but not requiring that CSE instruction be given in K through 6th grades. It provides families with the ability to opt out when CSE is taught in middle school and high school, and requires CSE must be age appropriate and medically accurate. SB 673 further ensures that parental rights are fully respected in several important ways. First, transparency. CSE transparency is currently a real problem. My organization has received many complaints from families facing significant barriers in assessing and reviewing sexual health curriculum under the California Youth Act. If a school district decides to teach sexuality health curriculum to younger children in K through 6th grade, SB 673 requires them to make the entire program available to parents on websites in languages immigrant families can understand. Informed consent requires that parents are actually informed. This bill remedies this deficiency. Second, accountability and choice. Coupled with transparency, an active opt-in is a much better safeguard of civil rights, including parental rights and the freedom of conscience. Applying a passive opt-out here would mean that very young children may be subjected to CSE materials against their parents' actual wishes. SB 673 makes California Healthy Youth Act more culturally and religiously sensitive and is better respects civil rights and the core liberal values of tolerance, diversity, and inclusivity. Informed consent requires that informed parents actually give consent. Significantly, the research cited by the ACLU and most of the opposition letters does not support the allegations that opt-out is preferred by parents, nor that very early sexuality education is in the best interest of children. The opposition research actually supports SB 673. The RAND study, as pointed out, strongly supports parental informed consent, here transparency, and opt-in, and the CDC and AAP articles support CSE starting in 5th grade at the earliest, not kindergarten or 1st grade. Without these additional safeguards of transparency, accountability, and choice, California school districts will be more vulnerable to financially crippling civil rights lawsuits from families whose children have been harmed by these early sexuality programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Good morning, dear respected senators. My name is Dr. Ahmed Sobo. I'm the chairman of the Islamic Shura Council of Southern California, an umbrella organization of 75 organizations representing over 500,000 members. I'm also the religious director of the Chino Valley Islamic Center in the city of Chino. I'm a dentist, I'm a father, I'm a concerned citizen as well. I'm sure making decisions on behalf of the 40 million Californians is not easy. It's difficult. But I'm sure you'll take everything, every measure you can and every effort you can to do the best and choose the best decisions and make the best conclusions for our community and our state, regardless of your political affiliation. So I would like to share my community's perspective on this matter. We are a diverse community. We have different cultures, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, but we all agree on one very important thing. We agree with all the parents in the world that we love our children. We love them tremendously. So I'm asking you to consider the genuine requests and the emotional pleas of parents throughout this state. These parents are concerned. These parents are afraid. These parents are worried for the most valuable assets they have, which is their children. We are fortunate to live in a nation that protects the rights of its citizens, including the rights of the parents. One of these rights that each father and mother would like to have is to be involved in their children's education. Something not only benefits their children, but also the society at large. The crisis we have in the way our youth and youngsters are acting is very serious and very concerning. These are our future senators, future leaders, and future presidents. The more we strip away rights from parents, the more these children suffer, and our nation as well. The American Muslim community, who understands very well what it means to be discriminated against, whose children suffer the most from bullying and marginalization in school. We are all for creating measures to make things better. But the measures we take have to be based on constitutional rights, scientific facts, and family values. We support this bill because it increases parental oversight with an opt-in for our kids and increased transparency. At my dental office, which is, by the way, in the same building as Senator Leyva's office in Pomona,
Have to come over and say hello.
I cannot clean kids' teeth without a very detailed consent signed by one of the parents, even if I have to provide it with different languages. I'm sure cleaning the teeth of a 10-year-old boy or girl is much less serious than teaching them about sexuality. When you vote on this bill, please keep in mind that the more we alienate parents, the more we'll see exodus from the public school system into private schools and independent schooling, which in return will hurt our public school system. In this perspective, I shared the voices of the Muslim community of California at large, North and South and Central, and also the voices of every concerned parent who is not able to share his or her voice to you at this crucial hearing. As your constituents, they are all saying, please support our parental rights and vote aye today. Thank you for listening and for being trustworthy public servants.
Thank you very much. Others in support, please go to the microphone and state your name, organization if you have one, and if you support the bill.
My name is Gracie Vandermark, and I am a parent, a finance commissioner for the city of Huntington Beach, and I support this bill.
My name is Kelly Shinkuski. I'm a resident of Monterey County. I'm a mom of 2 children, and I support this bill.
My name is Bishop Chris Baker, resident of Sacramento and education advocate, and I strongly support this bill.
Ray Burnell, Director of Education for the Catholic Church in California. We're in strong support. Thank you.
Maria Jose Fernandez, Sacramento native and public school graduate, in support.
Karen England, Executive Director, Capital Resource Institute, support SB 673.
Gina Gleason with Real Impact, based in Chino, California, in support.
My name is Tina Begley. I am a special education teacher in the Rockland Unified School District, and we support this bill.
My name is Michael Bagley. I'm a father, and I support this bill.
Pastor Jack Gibbs, Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, 10,000 members. We support this bill.
By the way, that's my pastor. I just want you guys to know that. I love that guy.
America Figueroa from the Coachella Valley, mother of 5, representative to Alliance to Protect Children, and I support this bill.
My name is Samuel Figueroa, and I support this bill.
Pastor Tim Thompson, 412 Church, and also Director of Our Watch. I support this bill.
Stephanie Yates, mom of 3 and founder of Informed Parents of California, and I support this bill.
Lisa Disbrow, veteran California public school teacher and bilingual teacher here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I strongly support this bill.
Brenda Lebsack, CTA member, NEA member, California School Board Association member, and I strongly support Senate Bill 673 and parental rights. Thank you.
Michelle New from Orange County, California, 2 children of public school age. I started teaching, and I support this bill.
Winnette Sills, Director of Californians for Life, with members in each of your Senate districts, and we strongly support this bill.
Richard Wortman, Alliance to Protect Children, veteran of 2 wars, grandfather to 8 children, and I strongly support this bill.
Marilyn Jackson, Pray for Safe Schools, to protect and secure our students' rights and our parental rights, and we support this bill.
Michael Kellett from San Leandro, California, a father, and I represent Universal Peace Federation, and I 100% support this bill. Thank you.
Pastor Mike Rogers, Baptist pastor in Sacramento County, and Papa to 12 grandkids, and I support this bill, and so should you.
Pastor Brent Snow from San Benito County. I support SB 673.
My name is John Ponus. I'm a resident of Alameda County, father of 4 children, and I support this bill.
My name is Alicia Preciado Richards, and I'm a member of the Placerville, El Dorado County. I'm a mother of 1, a grandmother of 2 beautiful children, and 24 great nieces and nephews that live in California, and I want their future to be bright and beautiful.
Thank you, ma'am. Do you support the bill?
Support the bill.
Thank you. Next witness.
Hi, Pastor Brenda Wood, Word of Life Ministries in Riverside, and I support this bill.
Hi, my name is Marlo Tucker. I'm the California State Director of Concerned Women for America. We have 20,000 members, and we support this bill, Senate Bill 673. Thank you.
Allison Hayden, special ed teacher, candidate for Congressional District 15, Alameda County. I support Senate Bill 673.
Maura Raudales, mother of 2, and advocate of special kids with special needs. I support this bill.
My name is Gerardo Montano, and I support this bill.
Linda Cohn, public school teacher, former debate coach. I strongly support this bill. I'm from Yorba Linda, California. Thank you, Senator Yang.
My name is Courtney McDaniel. I'm a Placer County mother of 2 public school children. I am also with Advocates for Families and Children, and we support this bill.
Rachel Crutchfield from Rockland, California. I'm a mother of 3 from Informed Parents of Rockland, and I support this bill.
Joel Peterson, Fairfield, California. I strongly support this bill.
Yes, Pastor Enrique Orellana from Coachella, California. I support this bill 100%. And in my beautiful Spanish, I say, sí, señores.
My name is Hipólito Fernandez. I'm a retired deputy sheriff. I am a current school counselor. I'm also a pastor, and I support this bill.
Reverend Charles DeWattville, father, pastor, Sacramento Valley Family Church, and we strongly support this bill.
Denise Jones, Fontana, California, San Bernardino County, and I strongly urge you to vote yes on this bill.
I'm Maria Montano. I'm mother of 2 healthy boys, and I support this bill.
My name is Sally Wood. I am a constituent in Senator Glazier's district, and I strongly support this bill.
I'm Jennifer Chavez from Fontana, California, and I strongly support this bill.
My name is Minerva Alvarado. Con mis hijos, por favor, no se metan. I support this bill. Thank you.
My name is Patricia Duque. Con mis hijos no te metas y al rescate de nuestros niños, apoyando la ley.
My name is Dennis McCord. I'm a Christian evangelist of the gospel of Jesus Christ who died for our sins and rose from the dead, and I strongly support SB 673.
And Indira Riggs, Crestor Valley, a Christian, and I support this bill. I'm also a teacher.
Larissa Enriquez for Community Christian Fellowship, and we support this bill. Thank you.
Rochelle Connor, President Frederick Douglass Foundation of California, member of Faith Fellowship, 2,000 members. We support SB673.
My name is David Fisher, Christ follower from Castro Valley, and I strongly support this bill.
Brad McMillan, father of 3 from San Francisco, and I support this bill.
Paul Gallo from Rockland, California, a member of Informed Parents, and I have 11 grandchildren, and you must support this bill. Thank you.
Joseph Day, father to a 16-year-old girl. On behalf of fathers everywhere, I implore you, support this bill.
My name is Dr. Maria Manaloto. I'm from Pacifica, California, and I'm a mother of 2 beautiful daughters and represent the San Francisco Archdiocese of San Francisco. Please support, and I strongly, and absolutely support SB73.
Thank you.
On behalf of
Thank you, ma'am.
all
Thank you.
Catholics. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rebecca Friedrichs, a veteran California public school teacher, former union representative in Savannah District Teachers Association, founder of For Kids and Country, and I strongly support this bill.
I am Chuck Dudek. I live in Oakhurst, District 8. I am the affiliate leader of the Salt and Light Christian Ministry for the 3 Catholic churches in my area. And on behalf of the 262 families, we support SB 673.
My name's Melinda Young, and I'm with Salt and Light Ministry, District 2, and I'm in favor of SB 673.
I'm Denise Oriana, and I am a mother, live in the Coachella Valley, and also pastor there. I support this bill.
Heather Obernolte, City of Big Bear Lake, strongly support this bill.
Gail Hunt, resident of Lake Arrowhead, California. I strongly support this bill. Thank you, Mike.
Valerie Jackson, a mother, grandmother, and the director for the United States National Prayer Council, and I strongly support this bill, and thank you for waking up the Christian community.
Yes. I am Sarah Kim, representing TV Next, Traditional Value for the Next Generation, representing all Korean Asian churches across America, California. We strongly support SB 673. Thank you.
I'm Mike Murray, candidate for supervisor in Placer County, and I strongly support this bill.
My name is Maria Elena Larios, grandmother of 18 children, and I support this bill.
Jose Figueroa from Imperial Valley, del Centro, California. A Catholic worship singer and 2 grandchildren. I strongly support this bill.
My name is Marta Montoya. I'm a grandma and mother, and I believe Jesus is the only way to support this.
Hi, my name is Karen Green Perez. I'm here in Sacramento, resident of Sacramento, a teacher for the last 8.5 years in California. I'm here representing traditional values of next generation. I do a lot of children's teaching and ministry, and I support SB 673. Thank you.
April Barcenas, Sacramento, California, mother of 2 Christian, and if we have nothing to hide, then hide nothing.
Hi, my name is Miju Connie, and I'm as a Jesus Christ follower, and I strongly support this bill.
Hello, my name is Jessica Romo. I'm a mother of 5. I'm also part of Informed Parents of Placer County, and I support this bill.
I'm Laura Kate from Elk Grove, California, mom, grandmother, wife, pastor, and part-time paraeducator for special needs, and I'm thanking God in advance for passing this bill.
My name is Daisy Moon, mother of 2. I support this bill.
Hello, my name is Helen Bond. I'm from Hayward, California. I'm a college student, and I support this bill.
My name is Junta Naito, a 24-year-old college student from Chabot College. I'm representing the Collegiate Association for the Research of Principles, Family Federation, and I'm also a son of loving parents, and I support this bill.
Hello, my name is Kazuya Morita. I'm a father and assistant pastor with the Bay Area Family Church, supporting this bill. Thank you.
My name is Hyunju Jo, mother of 2 kids. I am Christian of Emmanuel Korean Church in San Jose. I strongly support SB673.
My name is Hanna Kang. I live in Palo Alto. I have 3 kids. I strongly support this bill.
My name is Tae-up Lee. I'm a member of elder groups of Korean Emmanuel Church in San Jose. I strongly support this bill.
I have 5 kids, so I support this bill. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Debbie Kovacic. I have 4 kids and 6 grandchildren, and I'm a member of the Informed Parents of El Dorado County, and I support this bill.
Hi, my name is Amy Sellers. I'm the mother of 10 and grandmother of 15 in El Dorado County, and I support this bill.
My name is Imelda Granda. I come from Davis. I support this bill.
My name is Jonathan Keller, President for California Family Council. First, Senators, thank you for another legislative session, praying blessings on you this year, and respectfully request your aye vote on SB 673.
Hello, my name is Peggy Delgado Fava. I'm an executive director for Bridge Network, a local organization that supports youth at risk, commercially sexually exploited children and teens, and a youth advocate. I strongly support this SB 673 to give parental rights and guardians more control over their children's lives. Thank you.
My name is Mary Sari. I'm a mother, grandmother, great-grandmother. I strongly support this bill.
My name is Alex Yu, representing Korean Gospel Broadcasting in Anaheim, California. I'm the one who personally delivered 7,000 support letters from our listeners yesterday. We support this bill.
My name is Ed Kwong, father of 2 from San Ramon. I strongly support this bill.
I'm Joni Morrell. I am the proud grandmother and concerned grandmother of 7, and I strongly support this bill, and I'm also the wife of the senator.
Hi, my name is Eric Regard. I'm running for Assembly here in the 9th District. I'm also head of the Public Awareness Ministry at Calvary Christian Center, and I strongly support this bill.
My name is Jamie Howen. I am a nurse at Directions Medical Clinic, a crisis pregnancy center in Lodi, California, and I strongly support this bill.
My name is Jackie Cota. I'm wife of Deputy Sheriff John Cota in Alameda County, resident of Livermore, 2 children, and president of Tri-Valley Republicans, and I support this bill.
I'm Deanne Burdine. I'm a mother of 6, grandmother of 28, great-grandmother of 14, and I strongly support this bill.
My name is Pat Del Marmo, and I'm a mother and grandmother, and I strongly support this bill. Thank you.
I'm Bill Bechtel. I'm a teacher in San Lorenzo, father of 1 and grandfather of 2 sons. I strongly support this bill, and thank you for your support.
My name is Youngju Pentaske. I am a mother of 2 children in public school and a teacher in Santa Clara School District. I strongly support this bill.
Doug Solis Vacaville, father of 4, grandfather to 3, and I speak on behalf of Liberty Church in Fairfield, about 3,000 to 4,000 members, and we strongly support this bill.
Timothy Kim, co-founder of Traditional Values for Next Generation. I'm also pastor. I strongly support this bill.
My name is Greg Burt with the California Family Council and strong support. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Julie Choi. I'm mother of two beautiful girls. My girls are in Christian private school, but I strongly support this bill. Thank you.
I'm Andrea Hedstrom. I'm a mother of 4, and I strongly support this bill, SB673. And no, I don't want a flu shot.
I'm Kathy Getch from Oakhurst, California. I do not have any of my own children or grandchildren, but this is for the little ones, and I really support this bill.
Thank you. Do we have any other witnesses in support? Go ahead, sir.
Mi nombre es Moisés Ormachea, soy pastor en la ciudad de Fountain Valley, en California, y apoyo la ley que hemos venido a que ustedes, por favor, la puedan aprobar.
Thank you, sir. Any other witnesses in support? Okay, witnesses in opposition. If you could come forward and if you can make some room for them, that would be great.
Listen to what they say so you can counter them. Yeah, you're going to come back. Dean, have your arguments ready for these guys.
Thank you. All right, witnesses in opposition, 2 speakers, 2 minutes each. I will let you decide who wants to go first.
Take notes if anything you see. You think we
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Tammy Martin on behalf of Equality California. We're here today as a former co-sponsor of the California Healthy Youth Act and in strong opposition to SB 673, which would undermine the standards laid out in CHIA to protect the health and safety of our youth. And those standards are working, as laid out in the analysis. Birth rates among teenagers have been dropping since the state began crafting policy around comprehensive sexual health education. And nothing in CHIA removes parents from the equation. Under current law, parents have the full authority to opt their children out of this instruction, and an opt-in standard as proposed would create a barrier that would result in students being unnecessarily and unintentionally withheld from class. And it would deny many students, including those who are low income or who are living homeless or in foster care, the public education that they deserve because of other parents' views. Parents have the legal right under CHIA, of course, to opt their children out, but they don't have the right to opt other people's children out of that education. So this bill would negatively affect all groups that experience health disparities, not just LGBTQ people, but low-income communities and communities of color as well. So for those reasons, we must respectfully oppose the bill today and urge the committee to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Cachola Lucy. I am a Filipina immigrant for whom English was a second language. I'm a public education product. I graduated from the Jesuit University of Santa Clara University. I am a former special education teacher, and I'm a current small business owner. I am here representing the California State PTA, a secular and nonpartisan advocacy organization that has been around for more than 100 years. We have taken an opposed position on the bill, SB 673. This bill seeks to provide greater transparency and parent access to sexual health and HIV prevention in grades TK through 6. Though this bill has some qualities we are in favor of, like transparency and the online access to the science-based, medically appropriate, and developmentally appropriate curricula, the inclusion of the active opt-in is our primary reason for our opposition. Since 1987, National PTA and the California State PTA, which has over 700,000 members of all ethnicities, religions, from Northern, Central, and Southern California. We have worked with the Centers for Disease Control to provide information to families on AIDS and HIV that is medically accurate and age-appropriate. We affirm this in our resolution, HIV STD prevention education on our schools. Further, we specifically state, PTA supports the right of a parent to be notified about any course of study regarding sex education and to review the curriculum materials to be used. PTA further supports the right of a parent or guardian to request in writing that his or her student be excused from such a course of study in our position statement, health education. The California State PTA thanks Senator Morrell for his work to make the sexual health and HIV prevention transparent and accessible to parents and guardians. Should the active opt-in provision be withdrawn, we would reconsider our position as we want the greatest access for the most students in this area. I speak on behalf of more than 700,000 PTA members.
We have 30 seconds left of the 4 minutes, so go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Michelle McNutt. I'm a parent with 2 children in Orange County. I'm here to ask that you respectfully vote no on SB673. In the interest of public health and safety, I support keeping the opt-out model, which is the best way to ensure the greatest number of students will have the opportunity to be included, while still preserving the rights of parents to educate their children according to their individual beliefs and values.
Thank you very much. Others in opposition, name, organization, and that you oppose the bill.
My Ingram, ACLU of California, in opposition to this bill.
Thank you. Alice Kessler on behalf of NARAL Pro-Choice California, also a parent of a public school student in 2nd grade. We oppose.
Madam Chair, members, Rand Martin on behalf of the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, which is also one of the leaders against the skyrocketing STD epidemic in our state, especially among young people, and we oppose this bill. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members. Ron Rapp from the California Federation of Teachers. As Senator Morrell stated, we are indeed opposed to SB 673. Thank you.
Madam Chair and members, Brandon Marchi with the California Medical Association, also representing the American College of OBGYNs District 9, also in opposition to the bill.
Molly Robeson with Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California, we are opposed.
T. Pereira. I went to public school in both Fremont and Orange County, and I am a survivor of pre-Child sex ed, and I strongly oppose this bill.
My name is Claudia Lombana. I'm a San Francisco resident, 2-time Emmy Award and Peabody Award-winning journalist. Strongly oppose this bill. Sex education and sex should not be feared or should be ashamed of.
Puneet Purwal on behalf of ACT for Women and Girls in opposition to this bill.
Andrea San Miguel providing a public comment on behalf of the California Partnership to End Domestic Violence, who couldn't be here today, in opposition to the bill, and also personally as a student of age-appropriate sex ed in elementary school and in public school. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Rabin, and I'm with the California State PTA, and we are in opposition to this bill. Thanks.
Shannon Jager, California PTA. We are strongly opposed to this bill.
Good morning, Diane Velasco Highland with the California State PTA, and we oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in opposition? Okay, we will bring it back to the committee. Does anyone have any questions? Senator Chang.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Are we allowed to bring back Senator Morrell's witness, Attorney Dean Breaux?
You are, absolutely.
So, Mr. Broyles, can you please respond to the research cited by the ACLU that appears to show that an opt-out approach is more aligned with the intentions of parents as compared to an opt-in?
Certainly. Give me a second here. Yeah, as I testified earlier briefly, the RAND research study is what's relied on not only by the ACLU, but it's repeated by 80% of the opposition letters. And it's cited as a decisive point that parents prefer opt out rather than opt in. But unfortunately, the RAND research does not support the position that opt-out or passive consent more accurately reflects parents' wishes regarding comprehensive sexuality education. I've got a copy of the RAND study here, and it actually was a limited study of 2 schools of 7th grade classes in 2 schools. And the issue there was not comprehensive sexuality education that was studied. In fact, it was a drug rehabilitation and prevention program. And parents were actually not queried as to what their preference was as far as an opt-in or opt-out. The RAND research team deduced from the response rates from an opt-out in one school and an opt-in in another school what parents' wishes were, but they didn't actually query the parents on what their preference was. But even if they had, this is a 31-year-old study. It was a limited pool of schools, and it wasn't talking about comprehensive sexuality education, whether parents preferred an opt-in or opt-out, especially for younger children. And so the study itself is, it's not even a study of opt-in and opt-out in the sexuality education sphere, nor is it a study involving younger children. And so this, you can look at the study yourself. I encourage the senators to do so, and I've got a copy of the study here if anybody wants to see it. But they speculated about what parental rights, what parents preferred as far as an opt-in or opt-out. But a couple points I want to quote from the study itself. There was two points. On page 4 of the study, they said, quote, this extremely small pool is not generalizable to all school environments. So you can't take that one study that didn't have anything to do with sex ed and say, well, it applies to any other school, let alone regarding sexuality education. Secondly, the RAND study says, quote, deciding whether passive or active consent is appropriate must be decided on a case-by-case basis. And that's precisely what we're trying to do here today, is to say, you know, an opt-out may be appropriate for 7th through 12th graders, but an opt-in with more parental input and control is appropriate for younger students. And finally, what I want to point out is the big point that the RAND study made is whether you use an opt-in or opt-out approach, the key issue is informed consent. The parents themselves actually need to be informed of what they're being asked to decide upon. In other words, they have to have access to the curriculum. Transparency is a key issue of this bill. But secondly, they need to actually have to pay attention to them. And the best way to force parents to give active consent, informed consent, is to actually require that, urge the parents to look at the materials. And that's what precisely what an opt-in does. An opt-in says, hey, you're actively deciding proactively to put your child in this program, even though they may be as young as 5 years old. The age group we're talking about here is not young adults or little adults. We're talking about 5-year-old children through 12-year-old children. And so if we want to have actual informed consent, we need to have an opt-in and we need to have the transparency involved. Otherwise, there's a very big danger that children will be subjected to early sexuality education when their parents actually don't know about the program or don't consent to their involvement.
Senator Chang, do you have any other questions?
Thank you. No, just a statement. Thank you so much for your testimony. I am a proud co-author of the bill, and I want to acknowledge the points made by the opposition. I understand that, but I truly see this as a parental rights issue and a transparency issue, and I will always side with parental rights and transparency. So thank you so much. I'll be voting aye on this bill today.
Thank you. Senator Wilk, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. First one's for Ms. Martin with Equality California. First of all, I want to thank everybody for the testimony, everybody who coming today, and you were very well behaved, so I salute you for that. So PTA said that they're opposed to the bill, but they support the transparency portion as it relates to posting on the website. I was curious if your organization shares that view.
So it's our position that the inspection and transparency requirements under the California Healthy Youth Act are already robust, and that current law already provides for that inspection. So I think we vary a little bit on that point.
Okay, thank you. So to the constitutional, so she just said that the California Healthy Youth Act has the appropriate safeguards for parental rights. Can you explain to me how this bill makes improvements to that?
That is simply categorically not true. The act itself is very vague as far as how parents are going to be informed about the sexuality education that their 7th through 12th graders are going to receive in older grades. And like I said, Senator Morrell has received thousands of letters. My office has received hundreds of complaints from parents all over the state who've had the school district give barriers. And so it surprises me that an organization called the Parent-Teacher Association would actually disfavor parents. They're the ones, this curriculum is actually being hidden from parents and concealed from parents. So it makes informed consent impossible.
How does this bill improve it?
Well, as I stated earlier, it makes school districts put all the materials on the website in languages that immigrants will understand, in English and other languages that are applicable in each district. Secondly, it requires an opt-in. So rather than parents just ignoring a notice and not signing their parent out of the program, it requires parents to actually decide proactively that their child, that the material is age appropriate and medically accurate enough for their child. And so it's an active consent, it's an informed consent, and what's happening in California in the older grades is not informed consent. It's concealed. It's actually, a lot of what's happening is actually deceptive.
And great, well, thank you for your testimony. At the appropriate time, I want to move the bill. Having said that, I see a lot of new faces here today. I'm glad you're here. You need to stay engaged. If you're not sure what's going on in this building, we're having our own private version of Animal Farm. Policymakers in this building want to raise your children, whether it comes to school choice, comes to having input on curriculum. We want to put government bureaucrats in between doctors and parents and children. All these things are going on, and so I'm glad that you're here today, but you have to stay engaged or you're going to lose control of the ability to raise your own children.
Can I just add something quickly?
No, you may not.
Okay. All right.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Senator Pan?
Thank you. Actually, remind me what's your name again, sir? Sorry.
Dean Broyles.
Thank you, Mr. Broyles. I appreciate your testimony, but I do have a question, and maybe there's a question staff can help with. Mr. Broyles constantly referred to sexuality education. I'm not sure I see that in the code, that we have sexuality education. I believe that there's education standards around sexual health, HIV prevention, but I have not seen parts of the code with sexuality. No, I just want to be clear.
The chair can actually answer that for you,
if you
Senator Pan. If you look at section 51933 of the Education Code, it states all comprehensive sexual health education. So you are correct. It is about sex education.
Okay.
Health education.
So, well, maybe a subtle distinction. I think I think it's an important one. So I hope that we can more accurately represent what the code actually says. The other question I have is that certainly, Senator Morrell, I appreciate that, and I welcome. In fact, the PTA also stands in support of being sure that we have transparency on the curricular materials. But I also make note that the witness, Ms. Broyle, actually said part of the purpose of this bill is to force parents. And yet this is being framed as a parental rights bill, but yet the testimony was about forcing parents. So I'm a little disturbed about that as well. Again, I think certainly parents should have the ability to review the curricula and choose to opt their child out, their own children. But again, this is part of the curriculum. And I guess the other, and in fact, any sort of curricula that's taught in schools, because it's not just the state, it's also county, we have school boards that make decisions as well, and I believe they have to review curricula that's being taught, and there's an opportunity for people to weigh in with their particular school board within the state standards. There are opportunities, actually numerous opportunities for public vetting of standards, both not only at the state level but also more specifically at the school board level. Can you speak to that, and perhaps also the PTA?
Can I comment on your characterization of my testimony?
Well, I'm just quoting.
No, you're misrepresenting what I said. I said that transparency and an opt-in is more likely to make sure that parents have an opportunity to see the curriculum, to make a decision. If I used the word forcing, it was not, I'm not trying to hold a gun to parents' heads. I just think it's better to have transparency and choice and full disclosure so that parents actually make the decision and not the state for them.
Thank you for clarifying. Who was your question directed at, Senator?
Well, actually, I was first asking the author, and then perhaps also the PTA, perhaps to also comment on the level of review or parental opportunities for parental input in curricula.
Senator Morrell?
Yeah, again, let me explain the opt-out. The opt-out.
I don't think that was Senator Pan's question.
I think my question was the opportunities for parental input, both at the state level, the school board level, and of course, I think hopefully we all agree that parents under existing law are allowed to opt their own children out.
And that's why I want to explain the opt-out. It's by letter, okay, so people can move, you can miss the mail. That's why the opt-in, it's parental participation. They review the material, and then they have to sign a permission slip. You don't need to roll your eyes, by the way, but anyway. So,
Senator Morrell, I wasn't looking at you. I was looking at Dr. Pan. Please proceed.
So anyway, the opt-in, the opt-out's passive, the opt-in is an active one, because again, we want the parents to be able to review the entire material. We want parents to have access. We want parents to be involved in their children's education, especially on a subject as sensitive as this, because some things I think get misconstrued. Our friend here from the Equality was talking about studies show that pregnancy is going down. That's accurate, but we're also talking about first and second and third graders right here. And that's a little young, maybe start them a little bit later, and so I think the thing is since this is sensitive material, we want the parents totally involved with this, and we think it's their responsibility and opportunity to look at that website, and then at that point in time, they can sign their kid up if they think that is age appropriate for them.
Okay, well.
So it's more of an active thing on the parents' part.
Okay, well, perhaps, sorry. Okay. Well,
Thank you. Senator Pan?
Perhaps the PTA could also answer the question. More specifically, I asked was about the opportunities for parental input at both the school board and the state level, but perhaps more specifically on the school board level.
Thank you. The PTA values parental engagement. In fact, we co-sponsored a bill probably about 3 years ago that changed EDGO to make sure that school districts do encourage and facilitate parents' engagement in making decisions. That's part of the local control and accountability plan. And so when we talk about parental or family engagement, there are opportunities there, and that's ultimately what we want. We want parents and families to feel like they have some voice in what is going on in their community. PTA knows that we have a pluralistic society. That means we have people of all religions. We have people of all ethnicities, all belief systems. And California PTA is for all children, and we have to make room for parents and families to ultimately have that voice, and it is available at the school district level.
Thank you so very much for that testimony. Senator Morrell, I appreciate and I share your desire to have more parental engagement, and you're right, parental engagement, usually in partnership with teachers and again, elected school boards, help improve performance of students, particularly parental engagement of their own children and their own children's education is certainly something we value and wish to happen. I think, my concern is that we do have multiple mechanisms for people to both be engaged in the overall development of the curricula, as I think we just heard, and certainly we give the opportunity for parents, for their own children to opt out. My concern is that by creating an opt-in, we're actually denying some children who may not, unfortunately, have a family situation or social situation that makes it it's possible for those families to be able to be as, actually they may lose out on a very important part of their education and without their parents actually having the opportunity to be able to weigh in on that. And again, I would remind you that, I would just say is that the overall curricula is something that does go through a public process, both at the state, the standards we set at the state, and also at the school board level. So that means the community at large has decided this is a standard that we wish to hold in our community. And certainly if parents wish to opt their children out of certain pieces of that, understand that. But I think that in the absence of an active decision to opt out, that since we've, as a community, collectively have said this is something that's an important part of someone's education, the children should be availed of that unless the parents say that they for their own children, disagree. So with that, unfortunately, I'm not able to support your bill.
So can I ask you a clarifying question so I understand what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so what I hear you see, the opt-out, it can be mailed to the house and the parent may not mail it back. So the school districts then assume the parents want the education. But what if they move? What if they don't look at the mail? That is going to be fewer participants. But the opt-in, again, is something that every parent will have to decide to do. So I'm losing you a little bit because your explanation sort of cuts both ways.
No, so. Well,
Please proceed, Dr. Pan.
Sure. Well, it's usually the other. So I would just say is that we have a process where we engage the public, including parents, and school boards, you see a lot of parents there show up. And so the school board establishes curricula, has to approve curricula, working with the teachers. We here at the state, we have a very public process. It's publicly noticed. We have notices go out, et cetera. And then school boards have to review and approve curricula. So in that process, which we do through a democracy, right? We elect school board members, right? We have people who are elected to the legislature like you and I, who, and then we have, and so those establish essentially the general community standards for that community. In fact, we defer often very much to local school boards. So again, there's a very opportunity, not just here at the state, but more specifically in the school, to establish what are the educational curricula and standards we wish to teach in a particular school district. So in other words, those are, through that process, we establish a community standard. And that a variety of different parts of the curricula, including this particular component. We also provide an opportunity if you say, well, I don't agree with the community at large, and I don't want my child to receive this particular portion of education, we give people the opportunity to opt out. But I would say is that because we've already gone through a public process to establish that this is something that should be part of the standard curriculum and education of a student in this particular school district and in the state, right? Then that should be the default, right? That is what you should be getting, unless you say, well, you know what, I don't agree and I don't want my child to partake of this particular portion of the education. So that's an opt-out. The problem is that the other way around is saying that even though we as a community, for all the reasons that we've decided that this is an important part of your child's education, and we've established a curricula, that unless that if you do an opt-in, that means children who, for actually some of the similar reasons that you said that why they should be opting in, actually will be denied an education that we as a community think that every child should have. Of course, recognizing that parents themselves can say, you know what, maybe I don't want my child to get that part because I have a different opinion than the general community. We give them that opportunity. But if we do, but otherwise, I would say is that the default should be is that we went through we have a process, we have an elected school board, we have a process to establish what the curriculum should be that every child should get, and if the parent has a difference in opinion, they have the opportunity to remove their child from that, but without them actively saying, I want to remove my child from that portion of the education, that is what, and if they don't like that general education, they can also go argue with the school board about, well, I want to change the content. I'm not, I have a concern that other children are getting something that I don't agree with, then go talk to the school board, have that conversation with the school board, which also, by the way, has elected members on that school board. So again, that's, I think we disagree on that, but that is my point of view about how we should handle about this particular
and to
curriculum.
answer that, the reason we got this bill going is the opt-out really cuts parents out of the loop in many ways, because how this got started, a pastor in my district actually called me and told me what he did. He found out in his district the school implemented this curriculum, okay, without any board approval and without any telling any parents. So the parents were shocked when their kids came home and told it to him. So he did a little research. He has a large congregation, and he asked his congregates to take and keep these kids out of school for a day, and they did. And the school superintendent was down there pretty quick, I think asking for forgiveness or something. But the thing is, see, this is happening in other places too. So the opt-out is not working because parents are finding out after the fact. Their kids get this information, and then they found out, oh, I could have opted them out. I should have mailed that thing in. That's why it's an appropriate and the right thing to do, to have the parents review the material. My goodness, again, we've talked, I mentioned this before, you go on a field trip, you need a permission slip. And so once, and again, it's greater access to the parents to be able to review that stuff, and they should have an active way of signing their child up just like they do on a field trip. You're going to have a higher propensity of parents making that decision than you will the opt-out that's mailed, and then you guys assume, which you would never do on a field trip, that we mailed a letter to the parent, told them about a field trip, nothing comes back, that must mean little Billy can go play with the tigers at the zoo. So.
Thank you. Dr. Pan?
I appreciate that. I would make note, I am a father. Usually the permission slip for the field trip is about the fact that they're traveling out of the school. And while there's a brief description of the content or the location in which they're going, if I have questions about the actual content, usually I have to call and find out. So the permission is really about removal of the child from the school, the regular school environment, to another environment, being sure that I'm okay with them, because that's not a default environment. But I think let's not quibble about that. I appreciate your position. I've expressed my concerns, and again, appreciate the opportunity for dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Pan. Senator Wilk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I want to bring it back to parental rights. My wife spent 5 years teaching HIV education to high school students. In fact, it was kind of embarrassing. Sometimes it'd be like in a supermarket and someone would go, hey, there's the sex lady. So I was married to the sex lady for about 5 years, which has been great. So the opponents to the bill have talked about how we have all these safeguards and everything's hunky-dory. So Denise, and I'm sorry I don't know your last name, but you're the one that has brought this proposal. So I was hoping you could take a couple minutes to briefly share your story, because obviously it did not work for you.
No, it did not work for me. My district implemented this curriculum without board oversight.
What district was that?
Mount Diablo Unified School District.
Thank you.
Without board oversight, without board review, without a board vote, and no parent input. 11 lessons for 10-year-olds. And then they hid the curriculum from me for about 4 or 5 weeks. When I confronted the staffer and asked her, it appears to me, it looks like you're trying to stop me from seeing this curriculum. Is that just my impression, or is that what you're actually trying to do? And she admitted that she didn't want me to see it. And the reason why she didn't is because every parent who reviews it opts their children out. Now, when I did review it, I did opt my children out. And because of that issue of my board implementing this curriculum and hiding it from me, admitting that they did so, and the staffer even admitted it to the board in a board, they had her come and present to the board, and she admitted that she did that. My story, however, is not unique to my district. It is told by thousands upon thousands of parents throughout this state, where districts are implementing curriculum or ignoring an opt-out. We have many, many, many parents who have had their children opted out and they were instructed anyway. So there is a problem with the opt-out. We need an opt-in to ensure that parents have made the decision and that the school district will comply with it. In addition to that, my superintendent said that if she had had available to her an opt-in for elementary school students, she would have done it, but the law prohibited it. Now, why did she want that opt-in? She wanted it because she felt that the school district and the teachers and the board were at risk for liability issues. And due to those liability issues, she thought that an opt-in protected them. That's my superintendent.
And I would just say to your superintendent, below 7th grade, so K through 6th, every elementary school or district in the state has the opt-in right. So they already have that right.
Not according to her. Not according to her.
It's in the education code. If you read it, you will see it. You know what? I told you what the rules were when we started. If you like it, you go like this. If you don't like it, you're quiet. Otherwise, you'll be asked to leave.
This bill places the opt-in in the code for elementary, K through 6.
It's already there, Senator Morrell. Okay, any further questions? Senator Durazo.
Yes, just the last question, if I could ask the other two witnesses to comment, please.
No?
Yes,
Is there a specific question?
the last question about the experience.
Oh, yes, thank you. Hi, my name is Michelle McNutt. I'm a parent in Capistrano Unified in Orange County. Our district went through a very, very robust review process. We had a sex ed task force, which many districts are doing in my county. I'm a registered nurse. I was also part of that task force. And we had several opportunities for parental input at board meetings, as well as in the sex ed task force. Our district presented the curricula at several different middle schools over probably a 4-week period. They also did Q&A sessions. They also accepted parental questions to be put on a card. So by the time, and our board did vote on it, and by the time we actually did have a curricula that we were satisfied with, there were several opportunities for parents to have input in the community. Our district also has 2 binders, one for middle school and one for high school, in our district office. You are able to go in that office, whether or not you are a parent, you can look at the curricula, you can read it. All the videos that are part of our sex ed curriculum are listed there as well. There is full transparency. We have phone calls, we have emails, it's in the principal's letter, it's basically everywhere. And even with that, I would say there was still some controversy around what we actually did come up with. We've implemented it in this last year. The feedback from our superintendent of curriculum, from our principals, and from the students and admin has been very, very positive. We had very few people opting out, and it's a step in the right direction. We're coming together again to sort of review what's missing, what can we add, what was not necessary, again, with parental input. So I've had a very positive experience in Capistrano Unified with our task force and our process. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Durazo?
It seems to me that's probably the model that school districts, local agencies should follow. I'm 100% for parent involvement, for parent knowledge, full disclosure to parents. I come from communities that marginalized communities that have traditionally, historically been excluded from that kind of decision-making. So I'm very big, and it's very important for me, for our communities and parents to be involved in the decision-making. But it seems to me that's what we ought to fix if it's being done the wrong way. If parents are not being included, if districts are making decisions without parent involvement, that's the problem that we should address. That's a problem we should fix. I don't know how to do that, but I think that's what I would do. The way that it is set up, there is, and I'm not going to repeat everything that Senator Pan said, but the way it's set up is for local agencies, local education agencies, to go through this process. If they're not, let's fix that. that's the process where parents should be involved. I do think that that process should involve an opportunity for non-English speaking or non-primary English speaking people and communities to be involved, so I would push for that part as well. And then ultimately, if you don't agree with that decision, you can have your child not participate. So what I see before me is a way in which every parent, either collectively or individually, personally, has the right to make that decision about their children. And I do think that it's important. I see this sex education as a health issue. It's a health issue up and down. Our children need to be taught, and if we don't agree how, let's figure out how to do that. But it is a health care issue, and I think the issue of teen pregnancies is just one piece of it. There are a lot of things involved with sex education that is not sexuality. It's about the health care of our children. So I'm really glad to hear the model that you made up, and because I feel that there is a process for parents to be involved, to make decisions, that I will be opposing this.
Thank you, Senator Durazo. Any further comments or discussion from the dais? Okay, thank you. Before I ask you to close, Senator Morrell, I would just like to weigh in as a mother of 27-year-old twin daughters who had sex education in public schools. I did not feel that it was not age appropriate. I had the opportunity as a parent to review the material if I went into the school and ask for it, which I believe all parents have that right now. If you do not want your child to receive sex education, I would be very proactive as a parent. I would walk into the office and I would say, my daughter is, or son is in, you know what? It's my turn to speak now, and if you're going to continue to do that, I will ask one of the sergeants to remove you. If I did not want my child to receive sex education, I would go into the office, I would speak to the principal, and I would ask that whenever the time arises that they're going to teach sex education, that I did not want my child to be a part of that. Or I would walk in and say, may I see the curriculum, which they would be given. I understand that this woman did not have that experience, and that's wrong. Senator Morrell, we've worked with you for a year on this bill. We agree with you. I agree with you on the online and the transparency piece 100%. We offered you some amendments that would have addressed Senator Durazo's concerns. You were not interested in those, and I made it very clear that the opt-in piece would make it something that I could not vote on. I think that parents should be involved in their children's education. I was very involved in my children's education. I don't know how many folks in this room have read the education material that would be presented. Very good. There's nothing in there that is not age appropriate. I don't lie. I don't lie. You may disagree. I am not immoral, and I am not a liar. And just because this is what's wrong with the discourse in America right now. If we don't agree, you call people a liar. I've disagreed with many of you, and I haven't called any of you a liar because I don't think that you're lying. So there are some things going around online that are being propagated by senators or a senator in this building, and it says that we are teaching anal sex, sexting, cybersex, phone sex, sensation play, and kinky sex. If you look at the curriculum, it is not there. It is not there. It is not. What you are looking at, those of you who are appointing, I see you. What you're pointing out was removed. That was a version. Okay, well, we have a fundamental disagreement. It's not there. It's not being taught. I think part of the problem is people are afraid to talk to their children about sex. And thank you. And it's not condescending. I know because boy, oh boy, you guys are something else. Senator Morrell, maybe you can ask your witnesses to be respectful of the process.
I'd ask you to be respectful of the parent. I would ask you to be respectful, but also their parents, you are lecturing, so.
I'm not lecturing, I'm giving my opinion. You know what? But we're done. I am recommending a no vote on the bill. Senator Morrell, please close.
Thank you, Senator Leyva, for your lecture. Listen, I bought some of that curriculum on Amazon because they had different resources. It's almost, I remember Dante's Inferno, the 7 layers of hell. You had to really work through that curriculum and keep going down. They had resource guides, then books to buy, then suggested reading. I bought that stuff, and it's really not as you say. That stuff is in there. I've got it. I could bring it if you'd like to see those pictures, but since you're voting no, we'll just pass there. Look, here's the bottom line. This bill, a no vote, takes parents out of the loop. I think it's disrespectful, or an abstention, by the way, because you don't think parents should have full access. Even these letters that were written believe that having parents see full transparency and the school lessons, that it's too much work, too much problem. That's wrong, and yes, you did offer me an amendment, which I want to thank you, but it was taking the most important part of the bill away. So it's like you offered me a carrot, which I thank you for that, but then you took, I guess, the steak away, which was the opt-in. So that's why it wasn't that I was uncooperative. I'm here to serve these people, and they've asked me not to compromise in this bill and not to compromise their children. So that's why I wasn't able to take your amendment. But I shared there was the one pastor who told people to stay out of school, and I'm a product of at least in the early grades of public school, and some would say they did a good job, others may say they didn't do a good job with me, but I am concerned because Dr. Sobel even said earlier, he's spoken with people, as have I, where they could be an exodus out of the public schools into the private schools and the homeschooling, keeping people. I wonder how many people, based on what this other pastor did, are going to, have weeks or days out of school, which is only going to hurt our public school system. And so I don't want to see that. And again, I just close by saying a yes vote is, again, giving parents full transparency, parents who, that's their kids, right? And again, the opt-in is I think, we're not going to agree on that, but I think it bulletproofs and again, gives parents greater options. So respectfully, I do ask for your aye vote, and I do like discussions that are a little bit contentious. I sort of thrive on that, so thank you for being patient with me.
Thank you, Senator Morrell. Madam Secretary, please call the roll. Is someone, Senator, you already moved the bill. Okay. It has been moved by Senator Wilk. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Item 1, SB673. The motion is due pass to appropriations. Leyva?
No.
Leyva, no. Wilk?
Aye.
Wilk, aye. Chang?
Aye.
Chang, aye. Durazo? No. Durazo, no. Glazer? No. Glazer, no. McGuire? Pan? No. Pan, no.
4 noes and 2 yes votes, and we will leave the roll open for Senator McGuire to vote.